It started with a smell, foul, sweet, and lingering. The kind of stench that doesn't just burn your nostrils, it sticks to your soul. On a quiet Monday morning in suburban New Jersey, a neighbor called 911. They hadn't seen the young couple next door in days, but the smell wouldn't let them forget. Police arrived at 427 Maple Drive, a cozy little home, newly painted white siding, a blue door, a just married sign still stuck on the mailbox. The smell was stronger near the front door. No one answered. They broke it down. What they found inside, no one was prepared for. In the center of the living room, hanging side by side from the ceiling fan, were Ethan and Marissa Blake, a couple married just 3 weeks ago. Their wedding photos still lay scattered on the coffee table. 2 half-packed suitcases lay by the stairs. A framed photo of them smiling on a tropical beach rested on the wall, still tilted from the force of the fan's rotation. There were no signs of struggle, no forced entry, no note. It looked like a double suicide. But why? They had just come back from their honeymoon 2 days ago. Friends described them as perfect together. High school sweethearts who had fought every odd to be together. It was a love marriage, and they were ecstatic about their new life. The police were baffled. Nothing made sense. Detectives began digging. Where had they gone? St. Lucia, a private beach resort, the kind with glass villas over turquoise water and personalized butlers. A paradise for 2 people starting a life together. But something went wrong there. The hotel manager, when contacted, hesitated. They were fine at first, he said. Then, they weren't. On the 3rd night, Marissa had complained of whispers in the room at night. She said she saw someone standing at the foot of the bed, a woman with no eyes, dressed in a soaked wedding gown. The hotel passed it off as island superstition. Cameras showed the couple waking up multiple times at night, wandering the hallway, sometimes whispering to themselves, sometimes just standing, staring, for hours. On the 5th night, Ethan scratched his own neck bloody, saying someone was trying to choke him in his sleep. They checked out the next morning. The butler, terrified, whispered one final thing to the police. They were never alone in that room, not after the 3rd night. I saw her too, the woman in white. She followed them. When the couple returned to their new home at 427 Maple Drive, something came with them. It wasn't just them who returned. Neighbors recall hearing soft crying at night, but only for 2 nights. Then, silence. Then, the smell. Then, the discovery. News exploded. #honeymoon hanging started trending on TikTok and YouTube. People called it the St. Lucia curse. Some said it was a demon. Others believed it was the house. Thrill seekers, ghost hunters, YouTubers, paranormal fanatics all started visiting 427 Maple Drive. Within 2 weeks, 4 separate individuals were found hanging from the same fan. Each time, the bodies were discovered the next morning, always silent, always peaceful, always no sign of struggle. They just hanged themselves. The town panicked. The house was sealed, boards nailed to windows, steel chains on the door. It was declared unfit for occupancy. But still, the story wasn't over. A retired historian, Elaine Parker, dug deeper. She found something chilling. Back in 1893, on the very land where 427 Maple now stands, there was a house owned by Eleanor Wren, a bride who was left at the altar. Her fiancé, a wealthy banker, had fled with another woman the night before the wedding. Devastated, Eleanor put on her wedding gown, walked into the lake behind the property, and drowned herself. Her body was never found, but her house, it burned to the ground on the same day she died. Locals claimed to see her walking the shore in her wet gown, whispering promises to bring every bride and groom back to her. The legend faded, until the Blakes moved in. One last video emerged before the house was completely sealed. A live stream by 19-year-old ghost hunter Milo Dean, who snuck in at 2:13 a.m. He wore a GoPro. His final words were, "I don't believe in ghosts, but this house, it believes in me." He explored quietly. At 2:34 a.m., he panned the camera toward the living room. The fan was spinning. He whispered, "Who turned that on?" At 2:35 a.m., the feed turned black. When police found him, he was hanging from the fan, smiling. 427 Maple Drive is now surrounded by concrete barriers. No one is allowed within 200 feet. Locals say if you stand near it long enough, you'll hear whispers. They say the ghost bride doesn't want revenge. She wants company. So if you ever hear a spinning fan, or see a woman in a wet wedding dress at the foot of your bed, run, because some honeymoons never end. They promised forever. Now, they're keeping it.